Training camp is here. Players arrived today, and here at Mike Drop Sports on the podcast, all about the game. We're going to break down some roster positions for you guys today and talk about who has some chances to make this 53-man roster. Who has the ability to get on this team? Who should we be looking out for? What position groups maybe should we be paying attention to a little bit more than others? So let's break some things down here, guys. I want to remind everybody we'll be at training camp. I will be at training camp here with my kids on Sunday. So we'll be up there filming some content for the channel, also trying to talk to some players, get some interviews, different things like that. So maybe you can stop, say hello if you're a subscriber or a viewer of the channel, and maybe we'll get you on there with some trivia questions, maybe a quick interview or so to just tell us what you're looking for at training camp and why you like Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and the training camp home of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So let's dive into this roster breakdown. It's not going to be a super long video, I hope, but we're going to try to break down some of these positions. And I want to start with the running back position. I like Alfonso Graham. I know a lot of people do. Alfonso Graham is shifty. He's able to hit these holes without hesitation, which I really like in a running back. You've got to be able to not hesitate when you hit these holes. And I like the explosiveness right through the line of scrimmage, no dancing, just getting north and south, and I really like that. I also like the fact that Alfonso Graham can, when he gets to that second level, he has a burst, and he's able to explode through that second level. He's able to bounce inside to the outside and back in. He has that vision on the field, and I think that's a great talent to have for a running back also. So that allows him to be able to get out of the backfield on some routes. He has some good hands. He has a little bit of work to do on that route running. It's not as crisp as I would like to see it if I were a guy evaluating these players, a coach evaluating these players for a running back. I want to see good, crisp, clean routes when you're coming out of the backfield so we can hit the ball to you quick, all those types of things. Let's talk about Alfonso Graham, though, in terms of a special teamer. I think he can make this team in that role also. He could be a returner. He could play gunner. Different things like that that would give himself some value when trying to make this 53-man roster, because you have to be able to do more than one thing if you're one of these lower guys on the totem pole at a position group. So couple drawbacks with Alfonso. He played against lesser competition, guys. Let's just face it. The level of competition wasn't to the NFL standard. He wasn't playing in an Alabama, a big Division I LSU type program. So that puts some knocks on him. So we're going to have to really pay attention to him here whenever he's going up against professional competition here in Latrobe, and see what he can really do, and just to see if playing against lesser competition wasn't a huge advantage for him and really made him look better than he really is. So we got to really see that here, and we got to see him prove himself in Latrobe. Let's also move down to another guy I like, Jason Huntley. I like him. He's just a smaller guy. He's 5'9", 190 some pounds. I weigh more than him and I'm taller than him. So, I mean, he lacks a lot in the size area, but we have a guy at wide receiver that lacks in the size area also, who could and should be a quality professional this season, barring injury, barring setbacks from last season. So I do like Jason Huntley. I think he's at a disadvantage with his size. However, he's a speedster. He has good hands, good crisp routes. He could play on special teams also as a return guy. You know, that he could add that value also. But maybe he could be more of a running back that's more of a wide receiver to come in those slot type roles. It's just something that maybe the Steelers could utilize as another weapon. I'm not sure, though, if his size is really going to hinder him at that running back position, because I think you need to be just a little bit bigger, weigh a little bit more, have some more muscle on you, just to be able to get through that first level, not get taken down with first contact, to be able to actually survive an NFL season at that position. So Jason Huntley, I think he has an outside puncher's chance to make this roster along with Alfonso Graham. I'm not sure how many running backs the Steelers will keep. Hopefully 4 or 3, We'll see. Maybe they can stash Jason Huntley away on the practice squad, something like that. But he could be a home run hitter. He will be going up against Anthony McFarland, who looks way better, who looks like he's really made some progress in his game this offseason. So Anthony McFarland is really a big roadblock for these guys, the Alfonso Grahams, the Jason Huntleys, but they may keep, like how they kept with Benny Snell, McFarland at times last season. It might be kind of like that with either Huntley or Alfonso Graham, but I think Alfonso Graham has that inside track above Huntley. But Huntley's the other running back that I really like, that I think has a puncher's chance also to get on this team and make a difference with his speed, his athleticism, his yards after catch ability, those types of things. So let's break down into another position that I like, and that is going to be, let's see where we're at, guys. Well, let's talk about the wide receiver position here. The wide receivers, you have Miles Boykin, who's coming back, who was a great special teamers player last year. But there's some other guys on there, Jamarcus Bradley, Hakeem Butler, Jordan Bird, Dan Chisna, Des Fitzpatrick, Gunnar Olszewski, Cody White we've seen before. So there's some guys here that are going to be trying to vie for some positions. We know we're going to keep Deontay, George Pickens, Allen Robinson, Calvin Austin should make the team hands down. So that leaves that fifth, that sixth type receiver. I look for the Steelers to keep 6 receivers here and maybe stash a guy like a Jalen or like a Jason Huntley that we had just talked about before in the running back position, to where they could play receiver, they could play running back, maybe stash another guy like that as the 4th running back, something like that. But I look for him to keep 6 solid receivers. And I think we should keep an eye out for Hakeem Butler for sure. I think Hakeem Butler really dominated the XFL. I think he really improved his game. I think he's NFL ready, guys. He's a big body, good hands. I felt like he was running better routes. I think going to the XFL really helped him out and allowed him time to develop some more and really get used to being the number 1 target as he was on his XFL team. So I think Hakeem Butler is going to be able to translate that a little bit more to the NFL field and make himself a little bit more viable of an option. I think down low in the red zone, down low, he'll be able to make some big plays with his body size, and he'll be a good target inside those fade routes and things like that, or those quick posts, things like that, to where he can use his body and be able to attack the football a little bit more over some maybe mismatch opponents like a smaller corner or a linebacker or something like that, and be able to beat those guys. I think he has okay speed. I don't think he's the fastest guy in the world, but he has okay speed. I think his routes, like I said, were better and he's improved. But we need to keep an eye out for Hakeem Butler. I think he's the guy with the most inside track to gain that 5th or 6th receiver role. I think Miles Boykin gets put on the team probably just because of his special teams role. But if somebody can step up at that wide receiver position and prove that they can play great special teams, it might be the end of Miles Boykin. We will see, but I think Hakeem Butler is that guy you should be really watching. Also, I like Jamarcus Bradley. I think he can run after the catch. I think he has good hands. He's not afraid to come across the middle of the field. He high points the football well. He adjusts to the football well. And I just like the way he plays after looking at his highlights. So I think he's another guy that you guys should really keep an eye out for at that position, because I think receiver and running back are 2 positions that have a chance for somebody that's not a bigger name or a more well-known name to actually make this roster and make some noise here in this upcoming season and become maybe a viable option and a target for Kenny Pickett and the offense to use and utilize, and maybe catch some people off by surprise because they don't really know these guys too well. So I do like those 2 groups right there. Let's break down the positions a little bit that we know that there's going to be no real competition. Quarterback, Kenny Mitch Mason, Tanner Morgan. Tanner Morgan might get stashed on the practice squad somehow. Not sure. Probably not. Probably be let go. We'll probably ride with the 3 quarterbacks there that I just listed. So that position is pretty much solidified, barring injury, barring any type of acquisition due to injury or anything else that may come up. But I think that position is pretty well done, nipped in the bud. We've talked about the running backs. We've talked about the wide receivers. The tight end room, I think of Pat Freiermuth, Zach Gentry, Darnell Washington, and then I'm not sure where they will put Connor Hayward on this roster, either at a fullback type position on the roster and just list him there at a fullback, or will they list him at tight end? You do have Rodney Williams that'll be at camp. I'd like to watch him. I don't think he's terribly bad at the position of tight end. And I think he does have a chance if he can shine here in the preseason, if he gets the reps. And maybe he's able to do something. And maybe the Steelers are able to keep him as the 4th tight end and move Connor Hayward into that fullback slot on the roster to create some room to add another tight end like Rodney Williams. But he's the only other notable guy that I can talk about right now. Let's also move down to the center position. There's a few guys there. Trevor Dowling, Dowing, I think is how you say his name. Kendrick Green, Ryan McCullum. I think Ryan McCullum can make it as a backup center. Kendrick Green, I just think his time has sailed here, and I'm looking forward to him being gone soon. Well, I'm not looking forward to it per se. I don't want to see a guy ever lose his job, but I think he's going to be out of here before long. It's not, I think the Kendrick Green experiment's just about over. I don't think he is really making any great strides, but we'll be able to see here at training camp what he can do and see if he's made any real improvement now that the pads are on over the offseason, because we haven't been able to tell what these guys on the offensive line can do just yet because the pads aren't on. So that's going to be why we really aren't breaking down this offensive line group totally yet, because I want to get up to training camp. I want to see him with the pads on. I want to see what kind of progress some of the veterans have made over the offseason. I want to see what some of these new guys can do once you're able to hit and actually block somebody. The guard position, you have Spencer Anderson, William Dunkel, those types of players. We'll see what happens with them. Spencer Anderson was just picked up this year in the draft. So we'll see what plays out there, and we'll closely watch those battles at camp. And like I said, we're going to be getting a lot of video and things like that. So hopefully we'll be able to get a lot of this offensive line group to show you guys online so you can kind of formulate and make your own mind up about this offensive line. The tackle position, you have LaRaven Clark, Dylan Cook, Jared Williams. Other than the big names that have been listed prior that you've all heard about here, that have a good chance to make the roster, the Broderick Jones, the Dan Moores, all those guys that we know will make the team. There's Jared Williams and Dylan Cook. I think LaRaven Clark will be on the squad for sure. He's a quality dude. So we'll keep an eye out again at that guard or at that tackle position. You got the Isaac Samalus, those types of players, the Herbigs, all those guys. So we'll keep an eye out, like I said, guys, but we'll break them down further, more down the road once we get a better look at this offensive line when the pads come on. Let's go down to the defense here. Let's talk about the defensive ends, the Manny Joneses, the DeMarvin Leals, the Toby Nakawi, I think how you say his name, the James Namangi, or whatever the hell his name is. I can't pronounce it. So I've really not studied that group either. I know the DeMarvin Leal thing. I know the Manny Jones. So we'll see what plays out there. Again, these lineman positions on both sides of the ball are so super hard to evaluate just yet. So we'll be getting some video of them. So those are some names to see at the defensive end position. The defensive tackle also, Fioku, Loudermilk, Marshall, Amon Watts, Rennell Warren, those types of guys. Keep an eye out for them up there also. When we put some videos up, we'll make sure we put their corresponding numbers so you can tell who they are, where to look on the video to see who you're looking at to evaluate their play. So we'll see what happens. I want to see the rookie in Keanu Benton, and I want to see some of those guys that have just got here. I really want to see how they do when these pads come on. We know Cam Hayward's good. We know Ogunjobi's good. Let's move on to the linebackers. They got Nick Herbig coming in as a rookie. They did get back Tanner, or what's his name? Quincy Roche. That's who I was talking about. Yes, it was slipping my head. But Quincy Roche is back again. You've got Tanner Muse, players like that, Chappelle Russell. So keep an eye on that linebacker spot. We're going to be able to evaluate a little bit better. We know we got quality in Watt. We know we got quality in Highsmith. I think the veteran Golden is going to supply some good quality play this season, especially early to try to preserve the legs and the bodies of TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. I think they're going to try to manage them with some more breaks, a little bit less reps to be able to utilize some of this younger talent and Herbig that's also linebacker now. So let's see how they use the rotation. Let's see if any of those guys that I just mentioned could possibly sneak in there to take some reps from that outside linebacker position. You got Holcomb, all those guys, Landon Roberts, all them at the middle linebacker position. Those are going to be some quality battles that we're really going to have to watch now that we can see them in pads. Let's go over to the cornerback position. Duke Dodson, Madre Harper, Chris Wilcox. Wilcox coming, I believe, from the Colts. I think he was a Colt. Those types of guys that have a chance at cornerback to maybe sneak in there as a pretty far down the depth chart type piece that is able to come in and maybe some special packages, maybe play some special teams. So we'll keep an eye on that also. Safety, Elijah Roberts, Trey Norwood, Kenny Robinson, all those types of guys. We'll need to keep a close eye on them. We know our stars, guys. So these are just names of people that I want you guys to watch for whenever you're looking at these position groups. Kicker, you have BT Potter coming in. I don't think he has a snowball's chance in hell to ever dethrone Chris Boswell. And I know Boswell had a shitty season last year, but he's due for a big comeback year, as history throughout his career has told us. He should be pretty damn good again this season. The one spot on this kicking unit that I think might change is the punter. And you got Braden Mann, I think his name is, from the Jets. I don't think he's super good, but man, Percy Harvin really got to start proving something. He really, or Presley, I'm sorry, not Percy Harvin. Yeah, we all know who he is. But anyway, Presley Harvin, I think he's got to start proving something. He cannot do the shanks that he had last year. He has to be better, and he can't just be good in some moments. He has to step up here and become a little bit better and more consistent, or I think they'll just replace him with anybody they can just to get rid of him and try to find somebody else that's more serviceable. But I think this is his last audition in a Steelers uniform. This year will tell the tale. I do think he'll make the roster. I don't think Mann will beat out Harvin. I don't, but it could happen. So that might be a battle that y'all should watch out for and see how many reps Mann gets during the preseason as opposed to Harvin, and see what those guys do with those reps and who is the most consistent, because the punt game is big in the NFL. It totally flips field. It can change momentum a little bit. The punt game is big, and I think it doesn't get enough credit as being such a pivotal part of the game. So we need to really keep an eye on that. The long snapper position, Christian Kuntz, they brought in, who is that? Rex Sahara or Sonara. I'm not sure how that'll play out either. I really don't know anything about Rex. I know Christian Kuntz is a solid guy. I know he's a solid player, and he's been a Pittsburgh Steeler now. So I like Kuntz to stay as the long snapper. I like him to keep on going and continue his career here in Pittsburgh. So again, guys, we are just breaking down that roster a little bit. Just some names to get in your head. I don't want to bore you with all the statistics. I gave you some battles that I thought could really be spicy at that wide receiver position, at the running back position. Those could be some spicy battles. The line positions on both sides of the football could definitely be some battles to watch, but that's going to be later on down the road here as we get a couple weeks or a week or so into camp and see who's starting to shine. That wide receiver position, though, guys, I think there's some viable options there that aren't as big name as people think or know of. So there could really be some big time noise at that wide receiver position, and we may see some turnover. We may not. I don't know, but there's some quality guys there that the Steelers have acquired over this offseason. So excuse me. As we move into training camp, again, I said we will be at Latrobe, Pennsylvania starting Sunday. We'll be up there and we'll be at the practice at 1:55 p.m. We'll be walking around a little bit early once we're able to get in. We'll be up there walking around, filming some things, trying to talk to some people, getting some quick little interviews of people, doing maybe some quick little trivia. We'll see. That's yet to be determined. Also, we're going to be trying to get some player quick comments when they're signing autographs and things like that. Kind of catch them off guard a little bit and see what they got to say. We'll see how that goes and see what we can do. And maybe we can get some exclusive content that way to where it's not all bunched up with a bunch of media guys asking the same questions and everybody posts the same shit. We all hear the same interview because 10 guys have filmed the same question. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear maybe some more exclusives, some more candid stuff. So hopefully I'm able to get that done for you guys. I'm going to try my best, but look out for us at training camp. Keep watching the podcast all about the game. Subscribe to Mic Drop Sports. I really appreciate that. We're almost at 300,000 views, which is amazing. We're really taking off, guys. We're 10 away from hitting 400 subscribers. We're really starting to take off, and I really, truly appreciate it. So keep on watching. Until next time, peace.